Do you struggle with productivity? Well, you're in luck because today we're going to talk about a trick to get better at time management here on Get Organized with Jodi. Hi, I'm Jodi Granok. I'm a certified professional organizer with over 15 years in the field. And one of the first things I learned about just starting out as a professional organizer was a trick all about a picture. That's right. The picture scenario was a concept that was popularized by Stephen Covey. Now, Stephen Covey is no longer with us, but he wrote several really important books, and I know that you've heard of his most popular one, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So you've probably heard about the picture scenario before, but I'm going to show you how this scenario can help you with your time management skills. So imagine, if you will, that you have a pitcher, and this pitcher is filled with big, chunky rocks. Now, I know this is a symbolic story. I'm going to tell you what everything really means when we're done. So here we go. We have our pitcher, and it's filled with big, chunky rocks. But we can see that the big, chunky rocks leave a little room. And so there's a certain amount of pebbles that we can pour into this pitcher. And they will kind of go, and they will fit around the gaps that the chunky rocks left behind. Can you imagine it? Okay, so imagine there's little pebbles in here too, and there's still room. So there's a certain amount of sand that we could pour in. And this is what it would look like. So now we have our pitcher, and it has big chunky rocks, and it has pebbles, and it has sand, and they're all mixed together in different layers. Now, of course, we could add water, but that makes it messy. So let's just stick with these three things. And let's imagine that we wanted to try it a different way. So we pour out everything that was in this pitcher, and we sift it. Oh, that would take a lot of time. So let's just do it in our imagination. So now we have all the big chunky rocks in a pile, all the little pebbles in a pile, and all the sand in a pile. And this is everything that came out of this pitcher. But now we're going to start fresh. And instead of putting the largest item in first, we're going to put in the smallest, the sand. So this time, when we put the sand in, instead of going and flying around the different crevices and cracks, it's just going to go to the bottom in one even layer. And the same thing is going to happen when we pour the pebbles in. There's no flitting around. Nope, it just goes and sits on top of the sand. So what do you think is going to happen when we go to put the big chunky rocks in? This is what happens. They don't all fit. I was never good at science, but we know, right? We've taken away the gaps this way. So about a third of the rocks don't fit in the pitcher if we put them in last. So the moral of this story that I'm about to break down for you is that if we want to get this many chunky rocks in our pitcher, we have to put the biggest things in first. It's a lovely story about rocks and sand, but what does it have to do with my life and being more productive? Well, remember, this is a symbolic story, so let's break it down. The pitcher, that symbolizes one day in our lives. What about the big chunky rocks? They are our priorities. These are the things that we don't necessarily want to do or like to do, but we need to do them. We have to do them. So, what are the things we have to do every day? We need to get our rest. We need to sleep. We need to eat and drink, be hydrated, have nutrition. We need to do chores around the house. We need to go to work. If we're a kid, we need to go to school. These are our priorities. These are the things we need to do first. But a lot of us don't do our priorities first, and that's where we have priorities that fall by the wayside. Let me explain a little more. when we talk about the pebbles. The pebbles are miscellaneous tasks. It's the things that make life worth living, right? It's the things we love to do, but they should be arranged around our priorities instead of first. So, spending time with friends, doing hobbies, doing after school sports and activities if we're a kid. Those are the pebbles. And sand are time wasters. Now, I don't think anything is really sand by itself. I think a pebble becomes sand when we lose track of something and we spend too much time on an activity we like. And a perfect example of this is if someone tells you, oh, you should check out this video on YouTube. Hey, I'm a fan of YouTube, as you can obviously imagine, but what does YouTube do? Even with my videos, right? As soon as you finish one video, YouTube has a bunch of suggestions. And so you could think that you're going to spend 5 minutes watching a YouTube video, one YouTube video, and then an hour goes by and you're still jumping around from one video to another. That's when a pebble has turned into sand. So I'll give you an example. I don't always like to exercise, but exercise is a priority for me because it involves my health, and that's a priority. But I know that I have to make exercise a priority that I tackle in the first part of my day. Because if I start off by, oh, I'm just going to do a couple pebbles first, and then sometimes the pebbles turn to sand, okay, eventually I get to my big chunky rocks, right? I might go to work or I eat, all that. But oh, I don't have time today to exercise. Okay, versus I get up in the morning and one of the first things I do is exercise. I want to make sure that I put that big chunky rock in my pitcher. So, the more you can take care of your priorities first and then fit other things around it, the more likely you are to get all of your chunky rocks into your pitcher every day. And that's how you can be more productive. So now that you know about this time management trick, how will you use it to improve your productivity skills? I'd love to hear from you, so let us know in the comments below. I encourage you to visit organizingmagic.com for more organizing resources, including our free e-newsletter and information about our monthly Zoom webinars, which are also free. And remember that new videos drop every Friday, so be in the know and click like and subscribe before you go so you never miss a single video. I'll see you next time.